You're broken down and tired of living life on the merry-go-round, and you can't find a fighter, but I see it in you, so we gon' walk it out. Move mountains, we gon' walk it out and move mountains. And I'll rise like the day. I'll rise up, I'll rise unafraid. I'll rise up, and I'll do it 1,000 times again. And I'll rise up, I like the waves. I'll rise up, in spite of the ache. I'll rise up, and I'll do it 1,000 times again. The silence isn't quiet, and it feels like it's getting hard to breathe. And I know you feel like dying, but I promise we'll take the world to its feet. Move mountains, bring it to its feet. Move mountains. And I'll rise up, I'll rise like the day. I'll rise up, I'll rise unafraid. I'll rise up, and I'll do it 1,000 times again. We have each other, and for that we have each other, and we will rise, we will rise, we'll rise, we'll rise. I'll rise up, rise like the day. I'll rise up, in spite of the ache. I will rise 1,000 times again, and we'll rise up. I like the waves. We'll rise up, in spite of the ache. We'll rise up, and we'll do it 1,000 times again. You're broken down and tired of living life on the merry-go-round, and you can't find a fighter, but I see it in you, so we gon' walk it out. Move mountains, we gon' walk it out and move mountains. And
guys, how are you? Thank you so much for coming on my live. Well, hey, what else do you have to do? Then put you upon lockdown, right? So I'm here to keep you company and entertain you in the Saturday evening. Welcome. How are you? Hold on. You know, every Saturday I have this issue with this thing. I'm trying to get it up to see the comments. Deandra, I see you. So I'm going to put on my glasses so I can see what you say. Hold on. You see the new hairstyle, I have to make sure I said there's something. Oh, thank you. Terry did it. Thank you very much. Yeah. Hi, Donnery. Hi, Julius. Hey, guys. Welcome. All right. I will try to do this a little bit later. What's up? Welcome to my live. So happy that you could join me this Saturday. Hey, Jules. Awesome having you on. Yeah. So, you are live with Dara. Thank you very much for being here this Saturday, as I said before. I really appreciate you coming back. Last week, we looked at the issue of overcoming adversity. And, you know, the messages, the responses to that live, I was like, whoa. But even before that, just when we did the questions, when we threw out the question about what has been your rock bottom moment and how have you addressed that, just the responses from persons, I was like, yo, you know, say the whole way I carry some cross, but I mean, you might think yours is heavy until you hear about somebody else's and you're like, no, sir, them situations are rough. So this week I want to continue that discussion because I realize the more I talk about the more I talk about my issue, see my brother here? Yeah. The more I talk about my issue is well, you know, say nowhere near getting over. But talking about it, you know, it helped me. You know, you shed a few tears and all of that something. But it really helps, right? And we want to start the process of healing. So it might not happen anytime soon, but you can start it today. And when you hear how other persons who have been in a similar situation, like maybe something that you're going through, you can learn from them. So tonight I have two awesome persons coming on who will, you know, talk about, you know, what has been their rock bottom moment or moments. In the case of one of my speakers, you're gonna love her. And for my first guest, you know, he's a communicator, young man, successful man, you know, I mean, at the top of his game in terms of journalism. And then, you know, his world came crashing down and he thought his only solution was to kill himself. And, you know, he will just take us to the journey of what life was like before, what was that moment that pushed him over the edge, and what it has been like for him since, you know, because we all need to, yeah, we can learn a thing or two from everybody's story and from everybody's situation and see how best it can, you know, it can help us. I am looking for you, survivor. If you're on, can you just send me that request to go live? Hey, Janella, what's up? Send me that request to go live so I can start off with you. But how are you? Yeah, I mean, how are you locked down and chilling? COVID and, not COVID, curfew and chilling in the meantime. Oh, you're on. Okay, great. So I will accept you in a minute. I just want to do it. So remember now, Live with Dara is a non-judgmental zone. Remember that, people. I know a lot of us, we want to come on every Saturday and we hear everybody's story, and some people will judge, but I'm hoping that out of this live you will learn something for it. So remember, we're just hearing the stories and, you know, hi, what's up? So first, let me read this for you. And let me tell you, everything I'm doing here, I ensured that I sought his permission before I did all of this. I just wanted to read this to set the tone of the conversation we're going to have. Now, he's now 31 years old, successful media worker. I mean, at the top of his game, a father of 3. And as I said, his world came crashing down to the point where he thought there was nothing else or nothing better to do more than to disappear, to kill himself. So let me read the letter that he wrote to his family before he decided to go that route. It says, "Family, when you read this, do not cry. I know it's easier said than done, but my intent in life is to make my family proud. I thought I would be the one to bring a better life for my family. I tried. Perhaps I didn't try hard enough. I am just not strong enough to deal with the circumstances that face me. I know time will heal, although it doesn't seem that way right now." Imagine as a family member reading that. So I'm going to bring on my guest. He's my survivor tonight. He's our survivor tonight. Let's welcome him on. And for the purpose of this live tonight, we are going to call him. Hey, how are you?
Hey, good evening, Dar.
Hi, and say good evening to
Hey.
my
Oh, hi,
peeps
everyone.
here in Liveland.
Right.
It's so nice to have you on. It's really nice to have you on. And I'm hoping that through you telling your story tonight, somebody else, because COVID-19 are going on a whole heap of people depressed now. You know that though?
That's right. That's
A,
right.
a
COVID-19.
whole heap of people depressed. And I know, even in some of the responses, because I threw out a question last week about what has been your rock bottom moment. And, when I got some of the responses and you hear them saying, oh, I'm thinking about suicide, I'm thinking about killing myself. I'm like, yo. But, we're going to talk about it. And when we talk about it, people can understand. So, Survivor, tell us about yourself. You're 31, right?
Yeah. Uh, 31.
31,
We turned
a
April
father of
31
three.
October. Yeah, that's right.
All
Three.
right.
The best
Can you just
version.
speak up? I don't know how far away you are from your phone. If you could
Oh,
just talk.
sorry.
Yeah.
Is this any better?
Yeah, man. Way, way better. So
All
31,
right.
a father of three, at the top of your
That's
game as a
right.
communicator, a media worker.
Well, yes, I thought I was at the time. Going all the way back to 2019
Mm-hmm.
was when it came crashing down. But if you want to, if I'm putting this into proper context, then the story really picks up in 2017.
Please go ahead and share your story with us.
Okay, well, yeah, like you pointed out, I have three children, but my a twin, I have a twin boy and girl, and myself and their mom didn't have the best of relationships. I won't ever stand up and say I was the best partner at the time. No, I wasn't. But that relationship that I had with my kid's mom at the time, it deteriorated. It got really bad to the point where co-parenting was just so difficult, so challenging. It was just a pain, day week in, week out. It got to the point where, whilst I was transitioning out of that relationship, I guess, maybe I didn't do it the right way. It got to a point where she reacted in one of the most stunning ways that I to this day still can't believe I actually survived.
She was
So,
bitter.
w-
She was bitter about the breakup.
well, yeah, I mean, she can only explain how she felt at that time.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not even looking at it from a judgmental view, or I just know I'm just looking at it from what happened.
Okay.
So what happened? I'm moving out. I'm leaving. And then comes her threat uh, to pretty much label me a rapist. So, and this is coming from someone that I had spent a long time with, with
Yeah, but
two beautiful
so
kids
so so
together.
Survivor is not even labeling you a rapist. She went and reported you to the police that
She
you
went
raped
as,
her.
yeah, yeah,
Mm-hmm.
that's right. She actually went as far as going to the police and saying, hey, well, this guy raped her. And I'm thinking, well, baby mama, baby daddy, in that toxic relationship, they say things and do things, but I'm never thinking that it's anything is gonna come out of that. I'm thinking, all right, whatever, man. Didn't take it seriously. Well, that was wrong on my part, not taking it seriously, not trying to intervene because an investigation was opened, if you want to call it that. And one day at my job, I'm getting a call to come out front, and they're police officers, ready to standing by to take me in because they because of that rape accusation. And that's 2017, and that's where it all started falling apart. So I was detained in custody for what, maybe 4 days, and I mean, it's my first time ever getting arrested for anything in my entire life, right? And I'm in there, and there's a particular part of the investigative process before the charges are leveled. I'm not sure if it's referred to as the same in Jamaica, but we're all Commonwealth, so it's called a confrontation, where the defendant or accused and the claimant or victim would the victim basically I would have to ID and say, well, hey, this is the guy who did X, Y, and Z to me. So I'm thinking, because of our relationship, sure, it was rocky at the time, but this is me here, this is you, there's got to be something to there's got to be something to just stop all of this. So I'm thinking, okay, she probably won't even go through this whole ID process, and if she does come into that room and she sees me, she's gonna melt and you know withdraw everything. Boy, was I wrong, man. She pointed her dead at me, and that was it. Okay, Mr. Isidore, it's over. Okay, we're gonna have to charge you now. And that was 4 years ago, and yeah. My family, like I said, myself, none of us had ever experienced anything like that before. So we're talking about getting money for bail and court hearings, and this was just totally new and alien for me. Okay,
So, okay,
what is
with
my
you
life
being
gonna be?
arrested, how did that impact your job?
Yeah, well, and that kind of accusation next to was devastating. My career was upended right then and there. Now, although in my country, the IDs of whether it's defendants or accused or even victims in sexual offenses are kept under wraps, under seal throughout the investigative and even trial process. So that provided some level of protection, but it's a small country. People figured it out fairly quickly, and my employers decided, well, there's a lot of heat, a lot of attention, so we'll have to relegate you, take you off the front of camera, and I had to take some time off for a while. But fortunately, they didn't cut me off. They didn't let me go. They gave me the opportunity to stay with the company. I had to learn new things, not being in front of the camera. I had to. I was given different opportunity, different responsibilities. Maybe running their social media and even being a camera tech. So I had to. I mean, this was a career that I really, really enjoy, really love. This is my calling, I believe. And so I was pretty thankful that at least my employer kept me on staff. And for the next few years, and once your passports are taken away from you, you can't travel, anything you need to do, you got to get permission from the state. And then you also have to remember that there are two kids involved. Now, I'm a defendant. The victim or the claimant is their mom. We have two kids. Kids still need their fathers. They still need their parents. So that also presented its own set of challenges. The court wasn't sure how to navigate that scenario here. Do we allow him? Do we give him access? Because guess what? The kids they were 5 at the time, 5 or 6. The kids were were supposed to be witnesses.
Witnesses.
So, yeah, the cops took statements from 5-year-old children and submitted it to the prosecutors, and I guess they would have at the time classified them as witnesses. So you can't have a witness and defendants mingling now, even
Right.
if it's a parent-child scenario. So that was a difficult 12 months, difficult ordeal. Can't see your kids, and pretty much everything. My whole world had just crashed in a matter of a blink of an eye. Literally, you hear that cliche all the time. A blink of an eye, it really does. The adjustments come at you hard and fast, and those adjustments are so uncomfortable. And it was just I had no idea how I was
And
gonna
this continued to say
overcome
for
that.
a year. During that
Yeah,
period, did you communicate with the
2017.
mother?
Well, no, I mean that would have been a breach of because I
Okay.
was able to post bail. So part of the conditions, you would have to refrain from contacting or communicating anyone connected to the case. That included the kids and their mom. But I'll say this much. Yeah, communication was forbidden, but child mother, baby mom, baby daddy, baby mom, what you think is gonna happen after a while? With the typical baby mother, baby father scenario. Of course,
What happened? All
we're
five
gonna
still
find
text
a way.
back?
What was that?
What happened? You guys got back together?
Well, not got back together, but of course we did, communicate again. We started communicating again, all while this is going on. You know, I don't want to say my life got back to a certain level of normalcy, but I had gotten used to, okay, well, I'm on bail and I'm on this, I got court dates, whatever, but I'm going to work every day. So, and I'm still able to hang out with my friends and do some of the things I enjoy. So 12 months later, all right, there's a new normal that I've adjusted to. And
Okay.
now you factor in, okay, we're talking, communicating. We behind closed doors, right? So there's that layer now. Okay, all right, and then it stayed that way for a couple of years. So maybe going up to 2019, 2 years later, I think the seriousness had sort of subsided because I mean, everyone knew that this was dubious, this was bogus. No one really took it seriously. No one close to me. I mean, sure there were other people who felt how they felt, but generally no one really took that seriously. And by 2018 into 2019, I'd worked my way back to the front of the camera. My employers, everyone had confidence that this would have fizzled out, and I was back doing my thing, doing what I enjoyed. No more camera work and that sort of thing. Now I was back living my and enjoying my passion. But still being under those conditions hindered me, my career wise. So I wasn't able to travel. I wasn't able to participate in regional workshops, regional engagements, anything that could have helped me develop professionally. Once it was happening outside of my country, that was it. It was a lost opportunity, foregone opportunity. So that really frustrated me. I'll be honest. It was frustrating not being able to grow, to
Right.
develop, that feeling of being stuck and as a grown man needing permission to do what other people take for granted, boarding an aircraft, traveling
But you
as a
during
grown
that
man.
period, so we're talking about over a year. Did you? I know you
Yeah,
said that you communicated with your ex-girlfriend. Were you
yeah.
able to see your children?
No, the court system was very slow in figuring out the arrangements, and and adjournments are like so common. So there was really no progress as far as figuring out, okay, visitation, etc. So all of that I had to do on my own, you know, just as with my ex. So I would maybe once in a while say, bring the kids over here. Let's go let's hang out over here. And and there we are, you know, while the whole world, while everyone who supported me hated her, there I was, you know, trying to still
Make
be a
things right.
parent. Yeah, still
Okay.
trying to figure this out. Yeah.
So
And like I said,
fast
hmm
forward to 2019 now. That's 2 years later.
yeah, 2 years later, the backdoor relationship sort of progressed, if I can use that word, to the point where, you know, we were really we were good. You know, even better than we were before all of this rape nonsense happened. We were so good, we were so tight. And then as usual, um opportunities, you know, came about to work outside the country, and but this lingering bail situation was standing in the way, and it got to a point where I figured, well, all right, yo, we're talking with me, and we're talking, we're good. Can you not just deal with this so I can I mean, this is gonna help us. I tried hard to explain to her how, I mean, no, we're not together, but I mean, the better I do, it's always gonna redound to you and our kids. The
Mhm.
kids are gonna benefit. So, I mean, if you're not doing, if not for me, but to think of these kids, think of our kids.
Mhm.
And I just got the feeling that she was using it as, you know, how you would dangle a carrot in front of a
Carrot, right.
horse.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Yeah, you know, I got the feeling that I was being jerked around. Okay, sure, I'll go take care of it today, or I'll go take care of it next week, or whatever. Follow up. Nah, I didn't do it again. Nah, you know, so it was that also another layer of frustration, jerking me around, giving me the assurance or false sense of assurance that, hey, that she was going to deal with it, take care of it, withdraw it. Um, and I felt as though I was sort of like being used. I felt as though she was actually using this as leverage to maybe keep me in her orbit, keep me in her circle. So yeah, I mean, that when I came to that realization, I mean, I was like, wow, man, this is I've tried everything.
All
I
right.
mean,
So
I run
let's
out of
go to the
ideas.
point now. So let's
Yeah.
go to the point where you were again arrested. This time in 2019.
Well, yeah. So the newsroom that I was a part of, it went through some issues. Staff were either, yeah, I mean, there were some staffing issues there. Folks either taking extended leaves for various reasons, whether it's sick or vacation, etc. It got to a point where it was just maybe one or two of us running a primetime newsroom, and that is not easy. The days blended together, you know. Monday and Friday were like in this felt like it was the same hour. So and that also was uncharted territory for me. Literally, sort of falling into that position to try and keep that newsroom running, keep it stable, delivering quality content night after night. It wasn't. It was very. The pressure and the demands was just unrelenting. But I didn't know better. I figured, well, all right, that's how it is. That's how it is. Um, it got to a point where I would maybe run into a friend or someone in the street, and maybe they would have a conversation with me, 5, 10 minute conversation, and I would not hear or even remember. Okay, they would talk to me. I could see mouths moving, maybe even hear some sounds coming out of their mouths, but I wouldn't hear it because my mind is thinking of, I need to get this done, get that done, so I didn't hear anything. You know,
But
people
maybe at that time it was one of the
mm.
signs, it was one of the warning signs that you need help or something like that, but you just ignored it,
Yeah,
huh?
looking back on it now, I'm realizing, yeah, that was red flag number one. Well, among various red flags, you know, the frustration from my domestic issues, the court issues, all of those red, you know, and not not dealing with it, not ventilating it, not talking about it, just going day after day, just going. I'll be honest. I mean, yes, I explained in the newsroom and how much pressure I was under to try to deliver day after day. I used that as an escape, it distracted me from my next court date. It distracted me
Yeah,
from
but while it was
remembering.
distracting you from that, you were getting pressure from both ends now, from the domestic end and the work end.
That's right. That's right. And I again had no idea. I thought it was working. I thought if I can focus on work, then that court stuff and baby mama drama stuff that'll fizzle. That'll work itself out. So I just consumed myself. I immersed myself in work. I get up. I mean, you get up on a morning, you take a shower, you go to work, and in 15 minutes, it's like you're doing it again. you know. So that because the staffing issues, it was just a handful of us, and then there was this opportunity which sort of would have my employer really wanted to take advantage of. However, it would have required me to leave the state. Now, remember, I can't leave the state unless I get some permissions. All right, that's a process by itself. A shortcut would have been to get baby mama to say, "Hey, man, just go talk to these people, please." And so I was back in that little negotiation. Would you do
Okay.
this? Yeah, I'll do this for you.
So she promised you that she would have gone to
Yeah,
get the situation addressed so that you could get
right,
your passport and that you could get to go on that overseas trip. It didn't
right. That's right.
happen.
Didn't
Um,
happen,
Something else
and
happened. Something else
something else
happened.
happened.
Right.
Right,
And then
right,
that was something else happened around the time when you should have been leaving to go on that trip.
right. That's
And
right.
so take
So,
us now, 3 days later, you're in the newsroom. That's about 3 days later after you were supposed to leave?
yeah, actually, yeah. After, well, I mean, well, I'll take you let me just the context 3 days before. So, um,
Without,
remember
no,
my
remember,
employer
without implicating yourself in any way, right?
yeah, that's
Okay,
right,
go
that's
ahead.
right. Yeah, all I wanted to say was that I never really communicated that I was not able to, never communicated to my employer that I wasn't able to participate. I wasn't able to go. I never did that because I didn't know how. I'm like, oh man, because I gave them the assurances based on her assurances. And now, I mean, dealing with all of it, how do I go back and say? So I kind of I figured, well, I'll, there's someone else who can go, so I'll see if I can get that, I can make that happen. So anyway, um, on the day on flight day, there was a situation, there were some delays, and I was like, wow, man, that gave me some time, but it didn't work out for me anyway. But then for some strange reason, 3 days later or a few days later, the cops are at my job
All right, so
again.
hold on. Before we reach the point where the cops are at your job, it didn't work out for you. How did that make you feel? I mean, looking back at it now, do you think that was a part of the push factor for you that sent you over the edge?
Yeah, well, and yeah, I mean, it was another devastating lost opportunity. And I think what added to that anxiety was the fact that my employer would have how it turned out for my employer as well. How disappointed and how it might have affected their relationship with the sponsors. So and I'm looking at it like, damn, this is because of me again. This is my business, my personal life, messing stuff up for other people.
Right.
So
So three
I
days
didn't
later,
know.
you're at work.
Just 3 days later, I'm working there. The cops coming to my job. I'm like, okay, well, what's going on this time? I know I'm adhering to all of my conditions, so what do you guys want? And then the cops are saying, well, they're investigating some disturbance, and they have reason to believe that I might be connected to it. So, I mean, fortunately, I've been through this process, this dance before, so it wasn't as traumatic being taken into custody. But at the same time, I'm thinking to myself, nah, something is definitely wrong. someone somewhere, some force must be picking on me because this doesn't make any sense. I mean, I'm trying my best, you know, and why am I finding myself in these situations? This is too frequent now. So, I mean, um, in that detention area, or in that detention area, I mean, I'm there once again, and remember, this old rape thing is still unresolved, and I'm thinking to myself, these guys are about to slap me with additional charges, so that means I thought to myself, wow, I'm not getting bail, they're gonna put me away because I'm now painted as this notorious, you know, criminal guy, which I'm. So I figured to myself, nah, somebody or some force out there, this is what they want from me. They want my family to suffer. They want me to suffer. I would not. I thought that's what I was thinking to myself. I will not give them the satisfaction of seeing me get locked up. That was my
You
way
will not
of
give them the satisfaction
fighting.
of seeing you get locked up.
That's right. That was my way of getting. That was my strategy, if you want to call it that, of getting back to them. That's what you want? No, over my dead body,
So what
literally,
did you
which
decide to
is
do?
terrible. So there I was. I mean, I figured, well, look, man, I just figured I needed to leave, just disappear and go away,
Say that again.
because
Not leave the police station. You
just
wanted to disappear.
not
Explain what you
just
mean by
disappear,
that.
because my existence up to that point was a burden, brought trouble. I thought. It wasn't productive for anyone. I wasn't useful. That's how I felt at the time. No, this mom's crying, family crying, girlfriends, kids, everyone's crying, and it's because of me. Because of me being me. Or maybe it's because of something else. But I just knew the solution, a quick fix solution, is if I'm not around, then maybe life for everyone else would be better.
Did you think about your
So,
children?
oh yeah, well, I just had a baby at the time.
Yeah, did you
He
think
was
about
maybe
them?
6 months, of course. I mean, these kids were front and center of my mind the entire time I was in that room, plotting, scheming on how to exit. And at that point, I concluded that, yeah, they'll probably be better off without me,
Wow.
because hey, look at where I'm at. I can't contribute. I can't do anything. They won't be proud of me, is how I felt. So
So what did you
I'll
do?
do you all a favor. I'll do them a favor, my kids a favor, my family a favor, and I'll just disappear. So there was some substance in a bottle not too far from where I was.
Okay, now before you go to the substance, you
Yeah.
asked for a notepad and
Yeah,
a pen.
that's right. You read that letter a while ago, yeah. So I
Let me
figured,
just read it again for those persons who just came on. So you're in the police station. You are at the point now where you're thinking, listen, I am of no use to anybody here. Let me just disappear. Let me just get out of here. And in that moment, you wrote this letter to your family. I mean, it's not word for word, but I'm just going to read what it says. It said,
yeah,
family, when you read this, do not cry. I know it's easier said than done, but my intent in life is to make my family proud. I thought I'd be the one to bring a better life to my family. I tried. Perhaps I did not try hard enough. I am just not strong enough to deal with the circumstances that face me. I know time will heal, although it doesn't seem that way now. So you went, you asked them for the notepad, you
yeah,
wrote this letter to your family, And then what happened?
And then I blanked out.
No, you.
I
I don't think that. I don't think. So you went into the bathroom, and then what happened?
got into the bathroom, and there it was. And I figured, well, all right, well, if you're gonna do this, just make it quick, do it quickly. The less you think, the easier it'll be. So just like just like you're thirsty and there's a bottle of water, glass of water, or glass of your favorite drink lying around, pretend it's something like that and just ingest as much as you can. And
So you
it wasn't
ingested
long.
some chemicals. You ingested some bathroom cleaners.
Right, that's right. Yeah. It didn't. There was no labels on it, but I knew it had to have been something like that. Yeah, but yeah, and
And what happened?
within minutes, it started reacting, started convulsing, vomiting, and I just remember. I mean, this is not in a private house. This is in a police station. Police office building. There's a bunch of cops, who are confused, and but it turns out that the vomit, they were able to figure out, able to figure out based on the smell, the odor. Oh, this smells like this and such that was in the bathroom. Oh no. Let's um let's let they scrambled, and I just remember at that point, I'd thrown up so much that I just blacked out, but I can still hear faintly, and I can just hear them scrambling, and I remember feeling getting picked up and rushed to a waiting squad vehicle. They put me in the back of the cab of it. I couldn't see, couldn't I, all my ears painted the picture because I was blacked out, and I the ride to the hospital. It was. I mean, it's like wherever you're from, your yard. You're familiar with the twists and turns. So I can remember every turn on the way to the nearest hospital felt so familiar. Yeah, we're there. I can remember telling myself, yeah, we're this place now, we're that place now. I almost felt as though I knew when we pulled into the hospital parking lot. For some reason, that memory has stayed with me, knowing the turns without even being conscious.
So while they were
And
taking you to the hospital, were you hoping that they would save you? Did you regret drinking all of that stuff? Or you were hoping they would save you? What were you
I,
thinking?
yeah, I lost all of that. I lost all of that um, ability to rationalize whether what happened was good or bad. My senses was directed to what I was feeling at the time, which is the pain. It was painful, and I think my body had everything was just directed to staying afloat. Because when you get to that mental state, that zone, that survival mode, your body, it's like you're drowning. It's you get the it's as though it's as though you're getting submerged. Your body is fighting to keep your head above water. So I couldn't think of whether or not, oh man, what did I do? And nah, that was not even it wasn't even practical to think along those lines. My entire composition was all just, man, we need to keep his head above. We need to keep him alive. And all I had was the voices of the emergency room and my friends and employers who came to see me. One of the fondest moments I remember in that emergency room was hearing, I think it was one of my bosses, asking me to. She held my hand and she was asking me to squeeze if I heard her voice. And let me try to digress. If you've seen Get Out, you've seen Get Out the movie before, have you?
No, I
No?
haven't.
Nah. Okay. Well, so she's asking me to squeeze so that she'll know that I'm still here, or at least that she'll know that I'm fighting.
Mm-hmm.
And I literally wanted to squeeze. I really, I, it, wa- it- the, just the thought of just squeezing someone's hand, I couldn't do that.
Mm-hmm.
I wish I could have showed her. I wanted to tell her, yeah, I'm here. I'm trying to squeeze you, but for some reason my body's just not cooperating right now. And everything just went dark for the next, well, now my family told me 10 days or so, but everything went dark for a while.
So you were in a coma
Went
about
dark.
10 days.
Yeah, yeah, for about 10 days, seeing all these other things in a
But
world that I'd never seen before.
hold on. So you were in a coma for 10 days, but you're saying
Yeah, man.
you were in a world you've never seen before. What do you mean?
Yeah, well, based on what my family said to me during the early when I arrived at the hospital, how the doctors basically said, well, I deteriorated to the point where I had to put in tubes and the machines kept me alive. I was dead, is how my family explained it to me. I was dead. So, yeah, it was a lot of darkness, but I I was in a different place. I was in
Ex-
a world
yeah.
where you could move, and being there, I saw people that I hadn't seen in a long time. Of course, these people were deceased. These people had passed away years and years ago. And I'm in a place where I'm seeing all of these people
Hold
who
on.
were
So when you say you're seeing all of these people, how you seeing them? Like how you seeing me right now?
no, 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 no. No one had this physical form was foreign. No one, there were no bodies up there. Up there was colors, auras. Everyone had their own color. So if you picture a flame, an open flame, everyone was a flame, but different colors. And here's where I'm still trying to figure out how true. Well, I'm still trying to figure this out. How did I know that it was this person or that person? There was a level of feeling of familiarity with each being that I encountered. You know, it's like your mom. You can recognize your mom. You can recognize your mom's energy with your eyes closed. If she's in the room next to you right now, you would know. You
Mm-hmm.
understand me? So it's kind of like that. All of these beings I knew, and I had encountered them at some point before in the past. So that's how I was able to identify and say, oh, that's you, and that's so and so, and that's you, this person. It's not like you and I talking. It's not these things. Nothing we do, like right now, I'm talking to you. Nothing. It doesn't happen that way on the other side. It's the level of energy is just so instant, and right now there are so many barriers between us, but up there everything is just one. Mm? So I don't have to open my mouth, and you don't need to hear my voice to hear what I'm saying. Up there on that side, a thought. It's almost like telekinesis. It's difficult to explain, but um, you're sure 10 days in the physical is how long they said I was in a coma. But I mean, up there, the concept of time is totally different. It didn't feel like 10 days. It felt like an instant, because it got to a point where I'm in this open space, and everyone seems to be waiting. I have no idea what they're waiting for. And the groups, the groups of people are in, each group had a different color. So there's a people in green over there, and there's red over there, and then there's maybe blue over there. No idea what the colors mean. Don't ask me. I can't
I'm
tell you.
just curious. I'm curious about something. You know, sometimes when somebody like something happen a near death experience, somebody will say, "Lot them see them just see the white, like them see the white light."
There's no well maybe that's maybe where that's maybe they go. Where I went, there was no white.
There
I
was
can
no
tell you that.
white.
There was no white. It was dark. It was very dark. It was very dark where I was, I'll be honest. No white, no trumpets, no nothing. Dark and quiet and lonely. And it just maybe I got a sense that maybe it was a waiting room, you know. So
So what
maybe
happened?
there was this hill, there was this high point where I was suddenly standing over, and then there's this being that came to me and said, "Well, not yet," and nudged me off a cliff. Well, it felt like it was a cliff, and I came crashing down, and I woke up in the hospital in ICU.
So you are in that dark place at the top of the cliff, and
Right.
somebody come and nudge you and say, "Not yet," like not your
Not yet.
time.
All I know, I don't know what they meant. The words that stayed with me was "not yet," and just
And
pushed
then
me
you
off it.
woke up in the hospital.
Woke up in the hospital in
Wow.
ICU, tubes all over up and down my nose, and I couldn't talk because the substance had corroded my esophagus, so I couldn't speak for the entire time I was in ICU. Couldn't talk. I had to communicate, maybe write with a pen. Uh, couldn't even write with a pen because I was so weak. So yeah. But then yeah, I came to in ICU, but every now and maybe this point I don't know if it's the medication or the drugs, but I still would get those I would still go back even after I came. I would still go back. I would still see things.
So
I mean
even after you got pushed out down the
yeah, and
mountain and said, "Not no," you found
yeah,
yourself going back.
right. But now let me clarify. I saw thing. I didn't go back. I never ended up in that dark place again.
Okay.
Instead, I ended up seeing things that I know nothing about. I saw things. I saw slaves. That's what I'm saying. I'm very careful there because you in ICU, they probably doped up on a bunch of different. So it could be hallucinations. But I saw
Okay.
the slaves. I saw transat. I saw I saw slave ships. Uh, I journeyed through
The
slave
time and
camps
space.
in it. Yeah, I saw how they lived. I saw what they made. I saw how some of them died. And no, now we all know about the transatlantic slave. You come over on boats to Africa, and here where I'm from, there are rivers and whatnot, and I can just remember being in this place, and for some reason I'm standing near a river, a stream, and I'm just descending under that stream there, and I'm seeing bodies. These are slaves just pile up on top of each other underwater. These people are drowned, you know, and I'm just looking at them. I'm seeing their crafts, their, their coal pots, and how they're all just submerged underwater, huddled up together. They're not alive. Didn't seem like they're alive, but there I felt like I was watching something that might have happened hundreds of years ago.
That was an experience.
Yeah.
And the fact that you can remember it after is even
Yeah, I can remember it.
yeah.
I remember everything. So I
Wow.
don't know. I mean, ask a doctor. Well, the doctor might say you were on this medication and it may cause hallucinations. So I don't know. But
All right.
those are some of the things I came across.
Yeah. So you're out of a coma. You realize you're all right. How you feel? What was your
Hmm.
response? I wanted to
Wasn't all right.
disappear. Why am I here?
Yeah, wasn't all right. Well, I know why. I know how I got here, and it wasn't all right. and the new journey began to survive.
Okay, so now
So
it was no longer a case where I want to disappear, I want to die. You are now saying I want to live, I want to fight.
yeah, um,
And what do you think caused
I
that?
it that nudge, not now. I knew that I knew they were wherever I wanted to go wouldn't have accepted me, you know. So nah, you can't go this way. You have to go back, and you have to go back. So the motivation now became, okay, let's endure, let's survive this hospital stay. So let's survive the painful changing of the tubes. Hurt like hell. Hated it. Let's survive the needles, the injections. Let's survive the days of fever, high temperatures. Let's survive not being able to talk. Uh, And that was one of the things that I was really scared about because I couldn't talk. I had no voice. And in the career I had, your voice is literally everything. So there I was, not knowing, couldn't even ask if I could, how am I doing? And that situation, being in ICU, you really get an appreciation for the simpler things in life. I'll give you an experience that I had. There I was in my ICU bed, right across me, the nurses station. Nurses coming in on their shift. One of them dropped a bottle of water right there on the table. Nothing exciting about a bottle of water. But I just thought, but I knew at that time I hadn't had water, hadn't had a sip of water for how long, however long, and I knew I wanted to taste that. And I gestured and I motioned, and I got a nurse's attention, and she asked me, she figured I want something. She said, "What do you want?" And then I pointed at the bottle of water, and she said, "I'm sorry, I can't give it to you. Your stomach is this, that, and the other. You can't have it." And that hurts. I'm like, what? I'm thinking to myself, I can't drink water? Something as ordinary and as mundane as water. I can't have that. Is what I'm thinking to myself, like, then it really started to dawn on me, like, holy shit, you know, this situation is serious, and but there was this maybe another nurse. I tried to motion and I'm like, wow, this water looks so good. Ordinary, I mean, to this day, I ignore this bottle of water now, but it looked so good at the time, and I really wanted to drink water. And then one nurse, and I kind of like motioned the same. I said, I pointing at it. She looked, she like scanned the room real quick. She opened the bottle. She poured some in the cap, like a little amount. There's nothing to talk about. And there was this machine that I was hooked up to. It was literally sucking in. That's how they were feeding me. So she unplugged it and she poured it in there, and I sucked into my body, and just that was just one act of kindness. And I was like, wow, that's how I drink water. She
Wow.
gave me a little cap full of water, and I felt it. It didn't go through my mouth or throat. I just felt it, you know, move through my body for like a split second, and it disappeared. You know.
Okay, so
So
you attempted to kill yourself. God said, not your time, not yet. You're now back. How was that experience? Did you regret the fact that you tried to do that?
yeah, the visitation, family coming to see me, and each one of them breaking down, melting at the sight of me hooked up to all these tubes, them being hysterical, watching me. And then that triggered, I mean, my reaction was, oh my God, what did I do again? And then, I mean, the tears were overflowing every time I got a visitor because, yeah, and I just felt this immense feeling of regret and disappointment, fear and embarrassment because this is what I have now. This is how low this is how low it's gotten now. You know, me being incapacitated as I was then, and my family, the trauma this caused my family and friends. And I hated myself at that point, hated everything that I did that brought up that led to that point. It was just difficult, immensely difficult, because they didn't deserve that. They definitely didn't deserve that. Their lives, I mean, they uprooted in that way. They didn't deserve that, and I can just and that feeling of regret never really left me. When I saw their reactions, saw their tears, it never. I'm like, nah, man, Rihanna, you messed up. You really, I mean, you fucked up. Pardon my French.
Okay,
Yeah.
yeah. Having gone through the experience, um, what do you think what do you think you would have done differently?
Yeah. And I can only answer that question now because having gone through it, I'm looking back. And definitely the missteps that I made was not communicating, not expressing how my feet, how I felt. So instead I internalized and absorbed everything, because that's what men do. You're supposed to keep that shit to yourself. You're a man. Come on, you can't be bothering people with if your problems. Just deal with that. That's wrong. That is absurdly wrong.
Mm-hmm.
And not giving myself time
Mm-hmm.
to assess the situation, whatever it is, not having not and keeping it bottled up inside, not letting it out. Sure, I had friends. I had a lot of friends. But I just didn't do that. I just didn't. I just didn't think it was necessary to call up any friend or even my girlfriend or anyone to say, well, I'm going. This is how I'm feeling. This is how I'm thinking. I didn't do that, and that was one of the biggest mistakes I made. Keeping it inside was one of the biggest mistakes, because that kind of it's like a snowball, right? The more, the longer I internalized and kept it bottled in, the harder it was to stop, the harder it was to recognize where I'm going. Mm? So that was one of my that was a hard lesson to learn. Yeah, and I'm at a point where now, okay, I know, and this is through some therapy, some counseling. I've been able to develop some mental cues to
Mm-hmm.
try to, get a heads up if that kind of anxiety is creeping back in, or that kind of frustration. I know what to do now. Okay, this is a tough week, or okay, this situation is bringing up certain feelings. Let me fall back now. Let me see if I can maybe stagger my workload a bit, free me up. Maybe if I can get the day off or whatever. Now I know, okay, this is what you need to do. Or let me call up so and so. Oh, my therapist. Let me do some anything to divert your mind. Anything and that is what's going to literally save your life. So that's what I've learned from all
So
of
at
that.
the start, I said that right now you have a lot of persons because of the nature of COVID-19. You have a lot of persons who they're not around family; they're by themselves. That brings on this
Mm,
level of loneliness. It brings on
yeah.
this level of depression where people thinking, okay, all right, well maybe the next best thing is to disappear, right? You're saying your advice to them is to find someone to talk with.
Yeah. That is the number. That was a light. That's the number one advice. And it's not just finding someone to talk to. Um, it's also important to give yourself to take breaks from the grind. And I mean, COVID-19 has restricted movement and what we can do, but simple things like a change of scenery, change of environment, maybe come out of the bedroom, go into the kitchen. Maybe there's something in the kitchen you haven't seen before, haven't paid attention to. Look for it. That'll take your mind on a different journey, on a different beat. You know, it'll push whatever it'll push your anxiety, it'll force your anxieties away, and that'll buy you some time. That'll give, hopefully that'll create some space where you can really double take and say, hold on, what was I thinking? You know, look at your kids if you have them. Look at your husband or your wife. You know, and consider how you feel about these people, how you not being around, how you dying might affect them, you know. So and that's easy to say, because when you're in the grips of that kind of anxiety, these thoughts that we're now expressing aren't common. When you're so far gone, the solutions are few and far apart, and they're often very narrow in that you need to go, leave, disappear, die. Yeah? Intelligent people like you, like anyone, like yourself. Yeah, right now you're able to say, well, no, I'm not going to do this, I'm not going to do that, so and so and so, right? You're able to make rational decisions. But if it ever gets to a point where you're in the grips of that kind of pressure, that rational thought goes out the window. It's foreign to you.
But you're saying don't let it reach that stage.
So that's what you need. You need to nip it in the bud. You need to recognize early, and that's where maybe together with a counselor or therapist or someone, you can develop those mental cues, those mental exercises, those mental footnotes that you know what to look out for. Yeah? Because look, I had no idea, no reason to think that I would ever need those mental cues. Why would I need that? I was living a normal life. Great life. Why would I need to learn that shit? Why would I need to take a break? I can do anything. I'm Superman. I can do all of that shit. Boy, was I wrong. No. And not everyone might need it. Sure, some are stronger than others mentally, and that's okay. But it can mean the difference between life and death. Knowing when to stop, knowing who to turn to. And the earlier we do that, the earlier you do that, the better for you. The earlier. Yeah. That's why I learned in therapy, that's why they call it breakdowns, because you carried and you built up all of this. It's just going to break you down. You're not going to be rational anymore. You're not going to be you're not going to think straight, because you're in. It's impossible.
Yeah. Well, I'm happy 2 years later, you're here talking to us. You're here in a better place. So that's just testimony that, whatever is going on, whatever depression or whatever anybody's, is just temporary. Because, you're a testimony.
Yeah. And one of the concerns I had coming out of the hospital ICU and the recovery, I gradually gained my voice back. And the concern myself, my family had, well, okay, the internal damage. How is he gonna? Am I gonna eat normal, et cetera, et cetera? So I had some follow-ups over the last 2 years, and on the very last one, the doctors are checking me out, and I'm like, give it to me straight, doc. Well, how will this or has this changed my life going forward? The doc was like, man, the recovery is 90 to 100%. There was literally nothing up to this day, nothing wrong, there's nothing at risk of deteriorating any further. Everything is like it never happened.
Well, that's good. So you see,
Can't believe that.
As you said, the voice said, not your time. And maybe the whole experience was for you to come and, tell other persons about it so they can understand what's going on. It's not your time. So, I mean, the things you're concerned about, you've gotten them back, and I'm assuming you're in a better place than you were in
A lot better.
2019.
Yeah. Oh yeah, immensely better. Sure, the challenges, there's some lingering challenges that are still lingering issues connected to that still around, but I have my family and I'm in a better space mentally, so I'm navigating it just fine. And I'm still doing what I do. My career is still moving forward,
Awesome.
So it's one day at a time, and I'm just happy to share with some of your audiences and with you that, hey, this it can happen to anyone. That type of pressure can sneak up on you at the worst possible times. So I've been through it. I survived. And what I know is giving yourself a chance, giving yourself a break, taking a break for your own self will mean the difference.
Survivor, thank you so much. I mean, is this the first time you've shared your story publicly?
Absolutely, first time. I've never spoken about this to
Wow.
anyone except maybe my close family, close friends, but this is the very first time that I'm speaking on this platform to
I
you
hope you
guys.
get the opportunity to share it with other persons, as many persons as possible, because as I said, yeah, your story can do a lot for someone going through a similar situation like what you went through. And I really
Thanks for
want to
having me.
thank you so much, so much for coming on the live and sharing it with us. I'm happy that you're in, well, so everybody saying thank you for sharing. I'm happy you're in a better place. And I know I don't want to disclose your location, but while you may not be able to do it there, whenever the opportunity presents itself for you to do it elsewhere, I'm hoping that you can, because
Yeah.
you will impact positively some life,
Yeah. However I
somebody's
can say
life.
help. However I can help, because I mean, look, I going through it was as physically and mentally as painful as it was. I wouldn't wish that on my worst enemy. So if this conversation, this discussion can intervene at the right time for someone, I hope it does. I'm gonna keep doing it.
Yeah, man.
And
Yeah,
thank you
man.
so much for that opportunity.
Thank you so much for being on. All right. Have an awesome
You
night
have a good
wherever
evening.
you are.
Yeah, I
All
will
right.
do.
Take
Take
care.
care.
All right. Bye
Bye.
bye. You see? Me tell you about the cross. Me tell you about the burden. Me tell you everybody have a like a burden. And we think that our thing is the heaviest until we realize other persons have their thing. And sometimes when you're going through your challenges, you just talk to somebody. I mean, sometimes you say, oh, me don't want to talk to no family member because them fast, or me don't want to talk to the person because me don't want to know them business. So go find a stranger. Go find somebody and have a conversation with before it reach that point where you're pushed over the edge. I'm really happy that survivor came tonight and shared his story, and I'm hoping that through him sharing his story, somebody here tonight will learn something from it. There will be a takeaway from it. My next guest, she has also had her challenges in terms of rock bottom moments. Some of them I can relate to. I mean, when she telling me about the things that she did, I can relate to it now, because those are some of the things that I am now doing. Donna Ray, if you're on, just send me the request to go live. Yeah, man, it rough, it rough. And we are all not as strong as we think we are. And when you're at that point, where you're at that weak point in your life, um, reach out to somebody, get some help. Don't think you can do this on your. Hey, Ricardo, don't think you can do it on your own. All right. Let me send Donnery the request now to come. Oh my gosh. Okay. Yeah, man. Hey, Donna.
Hey, what's up?
Well, how you pretty sir?
Man, no.
No man. Here I'm going. Face beat and everything, man.
Yeah, hold
I
on
like
there,
it.
man. Try to turn on the light. Whoops. So what going, Dara?
Well, on. You heard my
You
survivor
good?
story?
Oh God, it was like a movie. At one of the time I was wondering, is this a movie he's talking about, or life is life is life is something else, eh?
Something
It
else.
is.
Yeah. You have had your share of rock bottom moments, Donna. And
Mm.
I was speaking to you earlier, and when you shared one that I can relate to, I mean, I was like, oh my God. But take us through your moments.
The one that I shared, that we have similar is happened for me in 2005. My father was lured and into a space and he was chopped to death.
Shocked to death.
Yeah, he was chopped to death. We found him 8 days later. He was highly decomposed when we found him. So we live in St. James and we found him in Westmoreland. Dara, me don't want Joshua here. Me go on in a room and close. No, I'll talk to you about it. Just close the door. Um, so, wow. So for me, I was 25. My son wasn't yet born. Um, so he was missing for 8 days. My dad was missing for 8 days.
Tell me
We
about the
were searching.
relationship you had with him before we go into the missing part.
Um, so I never lived with my father. But I knew him. I could see him. I would spend like some weekends with him. And so even if I'm not spending weekends with him and I'm spending weekends with my grandparents who are his parents, I would see him. And if I'm spending any holidays or any weekends with my aunts, I would see him because the family is close knitted and we live in the same general geographic space. So while we never lived together, um, I'd see my father quite often, but he wasn't an angel. He never lived up to his some of his responsibilities, and so the burden was really on my mother
Mm-hmm.
to take care of me financially, um, which she did. No complaints. I was never in need of anything. My mother has a philosophy where she shared with me as well to say that raise a child as if the father is dead.
Mm-hmm.
So that is how she does it.
Mm-hmm.
So she doesn't depend on a man to help her to take care of her child. She has a child, she's gonna do everything that the child needs.
Mm-hmm.
But my father was of high spirits, so everybody wanted to be around him. He was the life of the party. It took him nothing to just run a boat and start play some music and build a vibes. So he was loved. He was also seen as a strong personality. He was like a protector to everybody and anyone. And so I was always of the opinion that nothing can happen to my dad. Nothing, because he is a superhero. And I wasn't the only one that saw him that way as well. So boys in the family wanted to be like him because he was strong and he was brave. And but he had his faults as well.
Mm-hmm.
My father was in the army for some time as well, so he's that personality. And
Okay.
he also had bosses and stuff. So in his early years, he was very, very successful.
Mm-hmm.
And but then in the latter years, all of that went. I
All
remember when I
right.
was going to high. I remember when I was going to high school. I mean, my family might be upset if they hear this, but what I heard and from what I saw, I was convinced that he was a drug addict as well.
Okay.
And he was also an alcoholic. And so whenever he was drunk, I mean, everybody would know that he was drunk because he behaved that way.
But
And
you know,
so,
Donnery, there's a
mhm,
special love between a father and a daughter. And you,
mhm,
despite all of those things, there was
the
that love.
man, I love the man, like Dara, the man of the apple of my eye. I'm a single star in the sky. And everything for my father and nothing for my mother. In the sense that I have his personality. I look like him. Um, Everything about me is my father. Um, I take pleasure in dressing like him now. Well, forever. I always want to have on my jeans and my plaid shirt, button up plaid shirt and roll it up. And a nice thick leather belt. I'm a father that.
All right.
Um,
So
so
20,
like
so
20,
2005.
2005.
When in 2005?
Um, 2005.
Which month?
The saddest part of it is at the time I was mad at him. I was so upset with him because he did something and I spoke to him about it and tell him that he need to go fix it and don't talk to me unless he fix it. And my father came by my mother's business place the Friday, and when he was coming out of the car, I tell him, I say, if you're not fix it, don't talk to me. I'm not gonna talk to you. My mommy was there, my cousin Carol was there, because she wanted to see him, my cousin, who is my mother's niece, wanted to see him because she lived abroad for so many years and she wanted to see him. But when I said I don't want him to come near me, she didn't know what it was. And he just parked the car for like about 15 minutes and he was staring at me dead. And then he drove off. And then Saturday, Sunday, Monday, bloops, the man gone out of my life, Dara. And I just can't forgive myself for that because I don't know what he was going to come and say to me. I've wondered if there was anything that he would say to me that I could have done that would have prevented him going where he was gonna go. I don't know. Like, I don't know. But the Monday, my sister, who was 12 years old at the time, lived with him and he dropped her at school, and that was the last. He told her, because I remember her telling me that he said that he was gonna go to Cambridge to take care of something. And so that's where he went. He went to Cambridge in St. James. And what I got to understand was that a 16-year-old girl called him to say that her boyfriend has her trapped in a house and she wants him to come and get her out of the house. That's one of the stories I was told. But that's where he went. And the same girl that we heard about, she's actually one of the persons involved. She was 16 at the time and her boyfriend was 21.
So
And
he
the
was killed
reason,
by a 16-year-old and a
a
21-year-old.
16-year-old and a 21-year-old, yeah. And so he was chopped several times. He got several. Well, the pathologist, what he said was that any one of the major wounds that he got, if he only had gotten just any one of those, he would have still died. The first wound, based on what we were told by the experts, was that he got a chop in the back of his head that opened his skull. He got his face, the forehead was sliced off because that's how sharp the machete was. I remember they said that he got another one under here across the upper part of his body. And so we found him in the bushes. He was highly decomposed. So that was Monday to Sunday. That was 8 days. I looked at him. What I saw wasn't a person. It was as if you pass a dead dog on the road. That's how decomposed he was. I mean, sorry people, but that's how graphic it was. For years I couldn't remember what my daddy looked like because every time I remembered him, um,
Because you remember the last
that's
thing that you saw. Oh my
that's what I
God.
was looking at.
Oh.
And so I had to carry around a passport picture in my purse so that every time I remember what I saw on the ground, I had to take out the passport picture to look at, to remember what he looked like. And so, I mean,
So you really did, so you saw him decompose. I mean, the last time you
mhm,
saw him was when you wrote him and said, fix whatever before you talk to me. The
mhm,
next time you saw him, he was decomposed. And then, because of the state of decomposition, he wasn't afforded a proper.
a proper burial. So
Yeah, tell us about that.
they wanted to bury him same place or somewhere near there. And I started protesting to say, um, my exact words were, him dead like dog already, you can't bury him like one. And so what I understood was that they can't bury him before the pathologist came. And lo and behold, the pathologist didn't make it to the location, and so they had to call Madden's. And Madden said that they weren't gonna take him and all of these things. But then some negotiation took place with some people, and then the final from Madden's was that they'll keep him until Tuesday morning, but we have to get him out of the parlor Tuesday morning before 8 o'clock. And the Tuesday was because the pathologist was available on the Monday when he could do the documentation. It was so they couldn't open the bag at the parlor. So what they did was to remove the body from the parlor in the early morning and carry it to the back of the Pine River Cemetery. That's an old abandoned cemetery in Montego Bay down in Bogue there. And take it to the back of that place. And when they opened the bag, the pathologist and the police, my family members were there and some close friends came. And so I had to stand with the pathologist to identify that what I'm looking at is actually my father. He wrote it down on the paper and then he identified where the wounds were and he documented that and then I signed the paper. And then I had to go to the police station again to give a next statement. And so when I went to the police station, and of course they brought back the body to the parlor, them to spray upon it and bring it back to the parlor. The next day after that, no, we had to take the body out of the parlor and bring him up into the country where we are from and just do a graveside burial, not a funeral, a burial, but a pastor was there. Um, and so that was that. But then we planned a memorial a couple of weeks after. And so I got to close off that part in the church with family and friends. With,
Close off,
of
but
course, yeah,
for this happened in 2015,
2005.
2005, and
Mm-hmm,
for 15, 16 years later, you're just
mm-hmm.
at the point where you are overcoming that adversity.
Um, you realize me a while back, right?
Yeah.
Um,
Do what
so the
back down
truth
way. You don't
is,
want to have two ballers on the program tonight. Cause if you start, you know me to start. So do. Mm-hmm.
in terms of when you say overcoming, last year was my best year for so many reasons. So last year, I didn't break down around his birthday. I didn't break down around Father's Day. I didn't break down around the time when he was murdered. Because there was so much distraction. So COVID was a distraction for me because I used the time to do other things to find myself and to learn new things and explore new businesses and you understand. So looking back now, last year was good because I was distracting myself from COVID, but it was also distracting me from
The memory.
him and yeah, the memories of him.
So,
Yeah, man, can get
2005
me.
until last year, what was it like for you? What could you what could you do and what couldn't you do?
All right, so every Father's Day, me angry. Like, I anger has been my biggest problem. Angry, me, angry, me, angry, me, angry. Um, so I went to court for 5 years because I was the key witness.
Yeah,
Um, I was upset with the judges. I was just upset with the entire court system.
yeah,
But I'm going to tell you the truth. There were some police officers who I would have taken off the shirt off from my back and give them Dara because of how supportive. There was a female sergeant named Miss Johnson she was the head of the Cambridge police. She worked with me for more than 24 hours and not go home. Like literally. She not leave my side. There was a police named um, Mr. Moore. I think he was a corporal at the time from the Springmount police station. And then when we were going through court, there was a Sergeant Davis from the Savlamar police station. When me decide, say, may I give up and me can't bother. I'm not going nowhere, me not going no more court. There were mornings when I woke up and a police vehicle was at my yard gate. Police come say, get ready, we are taking you to court because you need to close this out. And like, if it weren't for them, I would have give up at one point in time, but I'm happy I persevered because I got some sense of satisfaction when I heard guilty. So the 21-year-old guy is found guilty and serve his time or is serving his time. I need to go back and check to see if they release him because I knew they had appealed. But the female who was 16 years old at the time and was pregnant, she was at the Granville place of safety. And then wake up one morning and she run away from the property, from the government property, not to be found. She leave the property. So no justice, no serve where she's concerned yet. So she's still a walk free. Because she didn't turn up at court. And when she didn't turn up at court, that's when the police left from Savlamar and went to the Granville place of safety in Trelawney. And they said that, oh, we wake up one morning and this girl was no longer in the facility. And that is how careless some of these facilities are. So this is a girl that is serving time, charged for murder. She's in a place of safety because she's pregnant. She gave birth. Her mother got the baby and she was still in the facility because, them going to give her a length of time because of whatever them say have to do when people just have baby. And then them wake up one morning and she was not on the property. And so she walk free.
Why did they do it that way? Did they tell you? Did you find out
Um,
why?
yes, at the time, the argument was, and so can I tell you that I got to talk to them, Dara, in the police station?
You spoke with them?
Yes, I asked the police, please to make me talk to them. Please, like me beg, please. And I spoke to both the girl and the guy. And and the girl said to me that she's pregnant. And she and the guy now work. As a matter of fact, the guy I work around Chinaman shop, packing bags, and the money not enough. So they needed money. So them need the car. So they murdered my father for the car. They were driving the car for 5 days. And somebody actually saw them driving the car after we had placed in the newspaper with the license plate and the type of vehicle. And somebody saw them in the car, recognized and called to say that they saw the car with 2 young people inside of the car. And that is where we started the search. That when the police came and told us that they found a car parked behind the Cambridge Primary School, or is it the primary school in Cambridge? When we went and looked, that's when we identified the car. They had taken off the license plate, put it underneath the right at the driver's seat and clean up the car properly. The car was so clean where they left it. And that's where we started to search from the next morning. So we found the car the Saturday night, and then the Sunday we started searching. Funny enough, why I don't like Father's Day, it's because I actually found his body on Father's Day.
Oh,
So I find my daddy on Father's Day. So
wow.
which is why I never like Father's Day. Yep.
You were saying
Oh,
about
I've been
Christmas.
coping.
You were saying about the Christmas part of it, you didn't, because that was round about his birthday.
All right, so his birthday is the first week of December. Mommy's birthday is the second week of, no, first week of December is daddy's birthday. The second week of December is mommy's birthday. And the third week is mine.
Wow.
So, when it touch December, like, I mean, I like Christmas. I mean, coming to Kingston, I never used to like go back home when because my family love Christmas. My father's side of family as well is extremely close. Can I tell you that people sometimes struggle to know my mother's sisters different from my father's sisters because of how close-knitted the two family is. And so, I mean, going home was always hard to go anywhere near them at Christmas time. I remember the first Christmas after Joshua was born. Not the first, it would be the second Christmas after Joshua was born. He
Your
was
son.
like a year old, my son. And my aunts had Christmas cooking because three of them lived in the same housing scheme. And I remember when I got there with Joshua, my father's brother, Uncle Vanny, just scoop him up and just start bawl because my son looked like the exact replica of my dad, even now. And so him just hug him up and just a ball, just a ball. So it's hard, but they're overcoming. They're doing better. I have brothers and sisters who I don't know how to deal with them when it concerns them breaking down. And so we used to call each other and ball around in birthday and ball on Father's Day and ball on any special occasion. Me stop take them calling time. See them a call me at those times. Me not take the calls. It's kind of selfish, but it's how me save me, because it's really about saving me. And so it rough. It rough. I've been telling people that I'm stronger now, but I'm stronger now because I was never afraid to talk about it and talk about with strangers. To me, like talk about it with strangers because they not judge me and they not judge my father. And we can just chat and chat and chat. And every opportunity me get to share with people about how we deal with losing my daddy, me share it. And it helps them too. And so when people are grieving, we can empathize with them. I find that it gives me empathy. It gives me patience with people as well. And I've had some absolutely wonderful friends and co-workers who them just allow me to talk and ball whenever. But
So you say you're stronger now, Donnery, and you say you're stronger now because you talk about it. What are some of the other things that you believe have assisted you to reach where you are now?
Time not heal, but time teach you how to live with it. And so some of the books and therapists and the theories and all of those things, I don't think they adequately help you. but a good therapist can put things into perspective, like an extremely good one, help you put things into perspective. So the first place I was sent to was the victim support office, and that is, for me, that experience was garbage because I was so mad with the woman. I pack up my things and leave. I went to another one. It was making me feel worse, and it was the police chaplain in Area 1 in St. James. It was a police, but it was also a pastor, Reverend Walters. He did a session with me, and the strategy that he used, he said to me, sit down over there, so if you want to lay down, you lay down in an office. And him say everything that you've ever wanted to say to your father. In any language, in any tone. This is a pastor now in Adara.
Mm-hmm.
Him say in anyhow you feel, whatever you wanted to say to your father, say it. Just pretend like he's sitting in front of you and tell him. And Dara, I tell him, man, some bad word. Everything that was pent up and inside of me, me tell him. Me tell him everything, and it's like I was offloading. It's like I was offloading. And when me offload all of my anger, all of my frustration, everything, he said to me, imagine the kind of relationship you would have wanted with your father, and speak about it. And he said, can you hold on to that? And I say, yes. And that carried me for a while. I don't know where he got that strategy from, but because we didn't have so much anger because he was an addict, because my father was the type of father who would ensure me enjoy myself and carry me go to the beach, and everything where frivolous and make you happy, he took care of that. But the important things he never took care of. So I knew he would always protect me if I call him. And if anything was going wrong, he would be the first one to be there. But there was a lot of things missing, like a father's tender love inside of the home to help you with the homework, because he was brilliant.
Do you think, Donoray, that you kind of beat down on yourself and you made yourself feel guilty about his passing because of the last conversation you had with him?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Because I was so mad with him because of what he did. He had an altercation with my aunt, his sister. And how he dealt with it, him not physically abused her though, just in mouth, him cuss, and him cuss loud. And so because she was embarrassed, and when I heard about it, I was mad. And so I called him and I said, I heard what you did. You need to go and apologize to her. And he said, all right, my daughter, we will do it. That's how he talked to me. He said, all right, my daughter, we will do it. But he never did. And so when he was driving past and he saw me, because I'd come to visit mommy and my cousin was there, because I actually came to visit my cousin who was visiting my aunt because she was here from abroad. And him drive and him see us and him stop. And so when he stopped and he was coming out of the car, I said to him, you apologize to your sister yet? And he said, no man, I'm going to do it. And I said, don't talk to me if you don't do it yet. So that was my way of trying to ensure that he make amends with his sister. But at the same time, the last conversation, the last exchange we had was that one. And it killed me. And like I was telling you earlier when we spoke, that for months, for days, for years, I was hoping he would show up and say, I joke me did I make. Me no bother dead. Like, I want the man to just drive up him car, because him like the excitement, and him like the 360 thing with him car, and him like the excitement. I'm just Every day, I say, all right, today is the day the man just go and show up and say, hey, this was a big joke. Me dey here, me no bother dead. I would call his number for months, hoping that he would answer the phone and prove me wrong that he's not dead. And the day the phone answer, me fling with my phone because the digital had no assigned the number to somebody new. So me say, when the phone ring and somebody answer, like two things happen. Is like ratted the phone answer, but the next thing is this is not his voice. He no longer uses this phone. Look here, man. That show me half of my knuckles. It showed me half of my bearings for months. And then I would continue to call the number and the person and ask him, and the person would say, no, this number is my number. I don't know who you're talking, until the person blocked me.
So hold
I would
on
have
then. Hold on, Donna. So even though a female answered, you were still asking for him.
The person tired of me now. Tired of me because me I called my father. So now the phone start answer. And this person I tell me say, no, this is mine. When I say no, it's not your number. The number belongs to my father. Me I tell the person say no, I don't feed them number. This is my daddy number. We need to talk to him.
Oh gosh.
The person blocked me. But
you know, today I was
I guess we
having
do crazy things when we are grieving. We do a lot of crazy things.
because today I was having a conversation with Terry, Tess' wife, and I was saying to her, have you ever thought about calling his number? Because for some reason yesterday I was at a low place as it relates to missing him. And I felt like calling his number because it's like a voice that can say, call it, he's going to answer. He's going to answer. And the same thing when you say about him saying, pop up and say, haha, I'm joking.
Yeah, man.
The same thing.
Man. Because it's like, one day I said to me, because them say, hey, you see, any only ever show up, I'm going to give him a box. So, like I said to them, say, see, any only ever show up and say, I drop me did I make, I go happy, but I go give him a box. It's crazy. It is crazy. I used to see my aunt cried for years. My grandmother died when I was almost 12. And my aunt would just bust out a ball for nothing at all when she come out of the house, because we still lived in the house that grandma lived in. And for years, I said, this woman can't stop ball now. And she come in the kitchen to start crying. If she sit on the table, she start crying. I got grandma's room. And she would have come in the room and tell me, say, me can't sleep in there. She has sleep in her mother's room. I have to go somewhere else to sleep. And she would have bawl. And I'm like, this woman is crazy. Look how much years grandma did. And she still a cry 10 years after, 12 years after. And now me understand because I'm in 16 years now. And see me still a bawl.
16 years later, you still cry.
Still a bawl.
All right. So, bawl different from drop to eye water.
Me mean bawl. Like, sometimes me are driving in my car and me have to pull over, like, ball, belly button ball. Like, serious. And I start and tell something, cry. And after I cry, I just dry off my face, I'm good again. Balling good. It's like you cleanse. I mean, cry with trickle down. Cow balling. Like the first morning I was supposed to go to court, I get up and say, that was the second time I really bawl after he died. The first, because even during the time when we are searching and we find the body in a ball in a Dara, we bury him in a ball in a Dara.
Can you not accept it?
I'm going to tell you. So the Monday after the pathologist did what they were supposed to do, we went. Because, we have to dig grave now. By the time we reach a country, country people build grave already, Dara. We not ask them to do it, People carry sand and steel and black and stone and cement from them yard, you know, and come and build the grave. Them build it. You know one way when me wouldn't build it so, because they did something and we appreciated it because that's how loved he was. And I was sitting on my grandparents' veranda because he's buried like next door to the house. And I sit down on the railing and there was a knot inside of me. I feel like I start hyperventilate. And a lady, she died this week named Miss Fell. God bless her soul. I love that woman so much. And she was standing with a group of old women. Miss Fell is an old woman. And Miss Fell walked away and she came behind me, Dara, and she hold me from back way. So, and she braced my body. I was still sitting on the wall and she come around and she hugged me up, my entire body tight. And she starts squeeze me in a Dara, like I don't know what was happening. And she said, ball, you go dead, ball. And I'll never forget. She said, ball, me say, you have to let it out. And she start rock me in a Dara. And when that old woman start rock me, I mean, so when the old woman start rock me at this up, I cry. The first after the Sunday, and then this is the Monday, no one, we do everything. I mean, so that was, you see, after I do that, I could breathe. Because we feel like we were dead. And that just the rock how she hold me tight. Real old country woman hold me. And she said, ball. And when she start rock me, she just rock me so. I mean, just ball. That was it. I never ball again till I had to go to court. I vomit. I mean, the morning, me vomit. The first morning court, me vomit. Me vomit so till I wake up from, I sleep. And I woke up the morning, me just a vomit.
Oh gosh.
It's
Well, no,
horrible.
so, I don't know if it's me. Last week I said it was my thing. You're a little pixelated. Okay, you come back better now. Okay. Yeah, Donna. Why?
But it rough here, baby girl.
I was really hoping. In the process of healing for me, I was hoping to hear that give yourself like 2 years, it will get better. But not so.
I don't know how it works for other people, and I'm gonna tell you that the grieving process is different for everybody. The grieving process is different for everybody, and no two people are alike because my relationship with my dad is different from your relationship with your brother, and so is the relationship with other people who might be listening to us who have people who have passed. And so that relationship and how your natural process of grieving, you understand, is gonna determine how you deal with it. So if you did love your brother dearly, and if you don't have unresolved issues, or if you don't have unfulfilled things, that also affects. Because I had plans for things that I wanted to do with my father that I didn't get to do. Because I didn't want to have one heavy equipment company because I love tractor and them something there. And I wanted to do that. I didn't want to have business with me and my father. I wanted to travel with my daddy. I never get to do any of those. So the relationship that you have with the person that passed determines your grieving process and also how you deal with your emotions. So like I'm an expressive person. There are other people who you're not gonna ever see them cry, but them going to have the pent up anger or have unresolved issues. You understand that might resurface at some other point. It might also impact your relationship with the living. You understand? So it might impact how you deal with either them spouse or them children, or if it's a parent that how you and your siblings relate, or how the remaining parent, how you and that person relate. You understand? So a lot of things will determine your grieving process. So for some people, they might can brush it off and say, after 9 days, me done. after the burial me done. For other people, it really has a lot to do with the relationship, the unresolved things, the unfulfilled things. All of those going to come into play. All of those are going to come into play. Some people write, some people sing, some people dance. Me ball mine and me chat mine. And me use it to help other people to heal.
The name tonight's live is Overcoming Adversity. But boy, Donna, me know if I've made a step or two. Me know. Me still out there now.
Dara, you are early days yet, you know. Baby girl, you are early days. And I mean, I'm gonna say that in this time that we're in, where people are not able to participate in the grieving process as how we traditionally would do it, it is going to, because I say the rite of passage for a loved one is that we can't practice it the same way that we used to practice. So going to the yard and doing the candlelight and the 9 night and families coming together and hugging and supporting and grieving with each other is not there. And so I know me can tell you, Dara, that in a couple of years we're going to have a situation in Jamaica where people who have not gone through how we as Black people, as Jamaican people, traditionally grieve over our loved ones because we've not been able to do it in this time. You're going to see it pop up in other ways, and there are going to be some studies on it. Mark my word, Dara. Mark my word that we're going to see some pathologies popping up in families and with people who are losing loved ones now and can't grieve the way that we've been practicing over hundreds of years.
I find now, you see, Donna, that me know it's like every murder, every killing, every death is amplified. It's like me know, me wonder, oh, it's like you hear about so many of them now. You say, wait there, what happened now? So much people start getting murdered. No, you see what I'm saying? It's like
all of a sudden you hear everything.
And I think yesterday what kind of pushed me in terms that I got into a low place was because of the young lady, the 20-year-old who got murdered. And it's like, Minister said, Lord, when is it ever done? When is it ever stop? It's like everything just takes on a different level. It just amplified.
Because you're hypersensitive now, you know. Yeah, man, you're hypersensitive now towards everything. I remember that everybody go missing used to take on the case, Dara. Like, I have friends who them parents, everybody go missing used to take on the case. Used to do investigation, used to help search for people. It's like used to take on everybody problem. Because I was on a quest to help everybody to find back everybody that went missing. And everybody that died used to hurt me like that person was a blood relative or an extremely close person. So every death, every funeral. I remember the first funeral I went to after my daddy died. Like, you know, the people in funeral are ball. And then I catch up on myself and I say, help me a ball. So, and then I realized I was crying for my daddy again. And so after a while, I stopped going to funerals. Me stopped talking to people when them loved ones died because I couldn't deal with it. You understand? And so it's not that I was selfish, but I couldn't deal with people who are hurting over people who they've lost. Or so, the first part, I wanted to be the saving grace for everybody. And then after a while, I couldn't deal with it. And so I pulled back. And so I blocked off from people and emotions for a couple of years as well.
I hear this thing, Donna, this too shall pass, or you'll get over it. And may I try to understand, may I say, what they mean? What they really mean? When
they don't know what they mean.
I know this, God knows best. Me no know, Donna, it's like, me still I try. Me if you understand what I say. Me say, okay.
Me understand exactly what you're saying. I'm going to tell you something. At one point in time, at one point in time, you vex with God, Like, me did vex with God. Because if you know best, I know, say, at this moment, go through. Or you make me go through this. And like, me did ask him, say, why me? Like, why you choose me? If you know best, you should have been know, say, no, make the man go there, so if anybody kill him. You understand? And then a lot of times people say things, them just repeat something because it sounds like that everybody says what it's supposed to say. You better you not say nothing to me. Like, you better you don't say, you better you just look for me and go on more than say certain things to me. Because me cuss off a couple people well because of that. Cuss them off that. Don't tell me about this too shall pass. And don't tell me nothing about God knows best. And don't tell me about to pray. And don't tell me about it. No, don't tell me nothing about that. I'm a spiritual being. And me don't need you to tell me when to connect to my God. Me go deal with my God. You understand? In the way how we can deal with him now. You understand? But you can't prescribe how people feel in these times. You can't prescribe the length of time that people should go through their grieving process. And you can't dictate how people are supposed to go through it either. Better you just support them in the process. For me, sometimes when I say I want to talk to somebody, it's not that me want you to talk back to me. I just want you to just did it. Even if you're not here, just sit down and shake your head sometime. You understand? I mean, I don't want no advice. There are times when I don't want no advice. Don't tell me nothing. So if you come give me advice, keep it. Don't be my friend. I will for people me block and delete out of my phone because of them something there. Don't text me nothing. But this too shall pass. Me no want to pass. And that's why you don't know what I'm going through. And don't tell me about forgive nobody because them kill my. Don't tell me about forgiveness. Me have to trace off somebody one time, no? You're going to tell me about forgiveness is for me, not for the other person. Where you come from, I can't tell me about if me forgive me, we feel better. Don't tell me that. A lot of people, I'm sorry, Dara, but me I tell you the truth. That's why I couldn't call you. But baby girl, anyhow you feel best to deal with it for you, for nobody else. Dara come first in this. At one point in time, I contemplate revenge. Me I tell her the God in heaven truth. And then I had a child. And then me I say, it look like God make me have one pitney for me no act out revenge. You understand? Because I say me no want no bad blessing fall upon my pitney. But don't tell me about forgive and you will feel better. And not so forgiveness work. That's not how not so forgiveness work. And I don't want nobody tell me nothing. Don't want nobody tell me nothing. In time you will learn how you feel and what makes you feel best and that you feel work with Dara. Simple as that. Simpler. And whoever is on the line, I saw it work. The person just wants to know that you are there. So just send one simple message and say, hey, sorry for hear what I go on, but me there if you need to talk. I'm done. Me there, I know. And don't tell me if you keep strong either. Because I don't want strong, I want weak, I want ball and walla. Because that's a part of the process as well. Too many of us want to be strong and being strong means that we pent up everything and we don't vent and we don't cry and we just act as if we are robots and we get up tomorrow morning and go on because that is what strong looks like. Strong look like nice makeup and good. Let me tell people one time, say my lipstick create my smile and they never understand what that means. A lot of times we get up and we bathe and we put on the good and nice and clean clothes and we're gone because that is what strong looks like. There are some days when I don't want to comb my ear. I never used to want to comb my ear. I just didn't want to just carry myself anyhow. We got through it. I just want to wear my slacks and t-shirt and slippers. And that's part of the process too. You understand? We don't have to always be well put together for people feel comfortable around us while we feel uncomfortable with ourselves through the process.
Dara, so I know, like, you put it out that your brother has died in my case, right? And I find something when it kind of nudge me teeth a little bit when somebody come and say, tell me what happened. Me don't know, Dara. He said, me say, what you mean? Because he said, in there, where is you want? Am I unreasonable when I get, I'm like,
and them unreasonable. them unreasonable, Dara. Because them not understand, so them a put you back to relive whatever. There are some things that you don't want to talk about. When you're ready to talk about it, you're a good time, you talk. Me didn't hear all the things about my daddy, But didn't hear say I him breed the 16-year-old, So that was one of the arguments where they go around, Yeah, man. And me didn't hear some people say him deserve it. You understand? And then there are other people who will call you. But so because guess what? No. Them want information from you, Dara. Because say, Adara tell me, say. So when them have conversation, them can say, no, that I know what Dara tell me. Sometimes I don't care, them care, Dara. Sometimes it's not care, them care. I don't care who the person is. They just want to say, Dara told me that. This is what Dara say. You understand? Them just want in your business. It no matter what happened. Because what happened, me tell one of them say me never did them, I don't know what happened. Me only know saying dead.
Donna,
Are rough?
It rough. Bad.
Look here.
It rough,
Girl,
bad.
it coming like you're in a one boat and they wave them just a lick your left and lick your right. And you now go front and you now go back. You just in a
Some days are good, Some days when I'm busy, good. You see, if we get a little downtime there, the time when we can look, I mean, Terry did a video. This is her way of remembering Tess. And she did that video. And when I look back on the video, it's like it just sent me down. It's like you're trying to relive everything. But in the moment of reliving it, you say, why? So some days are good and other days are rough. And we still need to honor him and everything like that. But why don't I wish somebody could have helped me overcome this adversity. I wish there was a blueprint to say, okay, you go X and you go Y and then you go left or right. You see what I say?
There's no roadmap. There is no roadmap. And I'm going to tell you something. You see the part where you say, when you're busy, you're okay. A lot of people find that when them stay busy, them okay. And so what they do, them overwork themselves to a burnout. And when it gets to the burnout, baby girl, I guess you drop over. The burnout because, and you might end up with anger. I mean, the burnout going, it coming in so many different ways. So like for me, as I tell, I say anger has been my best friend for a whole heap of years. Like my cousin always say a darkie, but it's like I'm angry at everybody. I used to be angry at everybody. And look here, Dara, look here, who you be. Take me nothing to hang up my phone for you. I'm not give you no warning. I used to be like that. I think I'm a little bit like that still. But there is no code. There is no secret potion to get you through this. All of you in the family are gonna go through it differently. Based on what you've said to me about him, and that he has not yet lived his life. He has unfulfilled dreams and unfulfilled potential. I mean, those are the things that are gonna get you low and also get you high. That you don't have no regrets about in life in terms of the way he lived his life.
None.
And so those are the good things, because a lot of people lose loved ones and there are no good memories. You understand? There's nothing to memorialize. And so you just have to hold on to the good things. And the whys won't ever stop. The whys are unanswered. I mean, and that's just one episode. That's just one episode of my life. Because my life has been filled with twists and turns. I feel like my life resembles Fern Gully. I always hear them say the curves and turns of Fern Gully are my life. But, I mean, me get a chapter to live where.
Yes, I believe it.
I don't know, man.
Don't worry. The guest that was on before, he was speaking to the issue of, reaching that point where he felt like he wanted to disappear. And doing the thing, to really,
Doing the thing you
disappear.
can't even call it, eh?
Yeah, yeah. I mean, he has gotten a second chance at life. I mean, I'm just listening to his story about being on the other side. And, you there, so, I mean, the curious side of you want to know, I wonder what going over there, so. What going on the other? No, I am very curious, because it's like me, I say, I wonder what my brother over there, I don't know. I wonder if him alright, you know? You know what I'm talking about? So I was just listening to the other side as seen by him. But he has gotten a second chance and he's here now because it's not his time. And what I remember, the takeaway from him is when he said, if you have an issue, if you feel yourself going to that point, talk to somebody. Talk to somebody, anybody. What do you say?
That works, but I'm going to tell you something. We as a people, we're afraid of being judged. We're afraid
So
of
true.
being, especially for men,
Yeah.
they're afraid of being considered weak.
Mm-hmm.
And so those are some of the stereotypes that people have to fight. And just like how you're afraid to say the word suicide, a lot of people, there's shame wrapped up around it. So even if they are feeling that way, they might not want to share exactly what they are feeling and what their intentions are at the point in time, because of talking to somebody and not knowing what I'm going to say about you after, who else them going to tell. Um, and so it's a lot of stuff like that. For me, there are times when they say, look here, if me tell you something and you want to go back and talk, that's your business. And some, not everybody's like me. The other part of it is, for those of us on here that are listening, if anybody should ever call you and to say that this is something that they're contemplating, I remember I read a book once that says use the PIN strategy, PIN strategy, to help your friend or to assess whether or not the threat of suicide is a here and now one or something in the future. So P is find out from them how them plan to do it. And if the plan sounds very logical and sound like it can work out, that's a red flag. The I, the intensity of the plan, that's another red flag. And the N, the nearness of the plan. So the plan is, so when you plan to do this, or me don't know but I just something I feel, or I'm going to say, I know, what method are you gonna use? So if them say them going to shoot themselves, so you have the gun, where you going to get a gun from? You understand some of those, you will know how to word it based on who you're talking to. So say a gun is immediate, don't it? And if them have the gun beside them now, say that a red flag. And the nearness, if them say no or next week, because some people can tell us say no, after me finish PR for my son school fee, me go. You understand? So it's just them, they're imagining and then put a timeline, but them also them can defer the action. So those three things, I don't have it lined out on a piece of paper now to tell about the plan, the intensity, and the nearness of it. And then you will know. To call help, I have had those calls in the middle of the night already from people who decide to them go and commit suicide. And I've had to call other people to go to them yard. I mean, I remember a girl called me one time and she said that she go and drop her baby. So I said, what do you mean you go drop your baby? It was a young baby. So I said, what do you mean you go drop your baby? The baby was 3 months old, Dara. And she said, she go and drop the baby. I said, where are you? when she told me that she was on the top of a building, like a 4-story building to the back. She lived in an apartment. And she said somebody said, how you reach up there? But she got up there and she was gonna drop the baby. And I had to use an next phone and call somebody to go and get her down. And so, but she called me in the middle of the night, like about 2:30. And so what if me never answer my phone? Because if she dropped the baby, is either more than likely she was gonna jump off as well or something. So the truth is, I think it was postpartum though.
Yeah. Yeah,
I
that's
think it
all
was
I did.
postpartum. And there are other people who may have to stay on phone with till morning light.
So look at this now. Elton, he's saying I suffer from mental disorder, so I can speak on suicide a lot. What do you mean by that, Elton? He just wrote that in Dunaway, and I'm not sure what you mean by that, Elton.
Is that a self-diagnosis? Is that a diagnosis that he got from a doctor? Is he undergoing treatment? Because a lot of people self-diagnose in Adara. So like depression is different from stress. So you might be going through stress, which we can feel when our bodies are under stress. But then depression is a clinical diagnosis. And so a lot of people say, oh, I go through depression. When really and truly, it's something that you should be diagnosed for. Make a doctor tell you that it might be stress, because stress leads to
Oh, well,
depression.
he just says that he's on meds again. So I guess it's something that can be controlled.
Okay.
But please continue to stay on your meds.
Take your treatment. It's nothing to be embarrassed about. And I think the more of us that talk about it, it makes it more comfortable and safer for other people to speak about it as well. And I think there was an exercise I did a couple of years ago with some young people where there's a range of emotions that human beings feel and go through, Dara.
He said
I have major depression. Okay. And at least he's on his medication and he knows. So I was just saying that I did an exercise with some young people, Dara, and the only emotions they could recognize was happiness and sad and anger. And the other range of emotions they don't know. So it's like them confine them body and what them feeling and them mental space to just 3 things. And so it's something that we need to practice more for people to understand how they feel and recognize how it feels when they are feeling it and what triggers it and how to get themselves back away from those emotions as well. So
why don't I know? A whole heap of people go through a whole heap of things, a whole heap of different things, whether it's relationship wise, but whether it's the death of somebody in the family, whether it's abuse, whether it's some mental thing in terms of somebody working on their psyche, in terms of making them feel like they're worthless or no one and everything like that. It's just a whole heap of way. And I think everybody have their own little fair share of that issue. It's just it's just the stronger surviving or the strongest surviving. I wish there's something that we could do or something we could say to just help. It's just that when you reach that bridge and cross it, that's when you know how to deal with it, eh?
And not necessarily, no, because you see, you and I are at a different level, Dara, where, because I know my body, I know how I feel when I'm feeling. A lot of people don't know. And I also have close friends that, if no one does, we can call them. Because there are sometimes things happen at work, things happen in your relationship, things happen in your finances. There are times when you feel like you're at a dead end. It can be a situation where you're all alone and the lone people just a call you and a knock. You have heard about those stories. And a lot of people Well, there are some people, just like your guest before, that say they feel like the best way is just to disappear. He used the disappear as his code word,
Yeah.
that it's better if I'm not here. And there are people who feel that way, that their non-existence in this space will make it better for other people. And that comes down to value and self. So the value is, oh, if I take myself out of the equation, then it makes the world a better place. Where the other part of it is that there are a lot of us as people who feel that us being here makes the world a much better place. And so it depends on the side of the coin that you're looking at as well. Which side of the coin do you place yourself on? The side that says, hey, I add value to people's life, I add value to the process. Or, hey, if you take note of the equation, then the solution is found. And so it has a lot to do with your value and yourself as well.
Mm-hmm. Hmm. Yeah. Elton is saying that he's okay now, and the meds I was on stopped working after 1 year, so I relapsed, but on a new treatment and new meds. Why, Elton? Please stay on it. Please, you
Please
know,
say,
yeah. As you feel something might go off track, go on and get it sorted out. I mean, you have to look out for yourself. You done alright?
Sultry Sudin said something a while ago, say, we show people what we want them to see, but inside a lot of what people are that. It's true, Sudin. Um, we are removed from ourselves, and a lot of who we are what we think people want to see. And so we're giving people, it's like we're seeking approval and validation from people, and not necessarily being who we are for ourselves. And self come first. Self comes first. Like for me, I am glad I am always about self coming first. It's not about people. I mean, yes, you want maintain your dignity in a space, but that is different from giving people what they want. If it's about dignity, it's really about yourself. Understand? But I mean, we're too caught up into, I mean, as
What people
somebody said, do
think.
it for the likes
Yeah,
and what people. I
yeah.
mean, hey, it not that what people think not that serious. And what we don't know what people think, we're imagining what people think,
I think
or we
yeah.
are feeling comfortable with imagining. Also, at the same night, you don't ever know what people are thinking, because sometimes they don't ever share what they are truly thinking about you. So be comfortable with yourself and looking in the mirror, and every day you wake up, you say, I am blessed, and you do daily affirmations, because there are times when I've had to talk myself through days that, hey, guess what, girl? Today is going to be a happy day. Today is going to be a good day. These are the things that I'm going to do today, and I'm going to be successful at these things today. I'm going to write down the 5 things that I want to get through today. And I saw me go through 1, me tick it off, and me celebrate. I'm go through 2, me tick it off, and me celebrate. And if me can only go 4, me give myself a pat on the back and say, tomorrow I'll be stronger, and we take our number 5 plus the other 5 we have for the next day. And so it really is about getting through each, compartmentalize the day. So for 2 hours, me go strong. If you can imagine the 8 hours a day at work. So for these 2 hours, this is what I'm gonna do. And after you complete the 2 hours, if it's even a cup of coffee, you go drink and celebrate yourself and say, all right, I'm gonna take on another 2 hours. And you take on the next 2 hours. When you reach midday, you celebrate yourself again. And then you take on the time after lunch. So if it means that lunchtime, you don't have lunch with your friends, but you go sit down under a tree and you deep breathe and you sing and you play your music, if that's your coping mechanism, do it. Mine used to be driving around. I'm happy I was in Montego Bay when I was going through that time. And so I always have something to swim in and a towel in my car, Dara. And so the beach was my place. And of course, we used to go in a Fontana, organize the shelf them.
You see the beach, that can also be a dangerous spot. I wouldn't recommend the beach. Because, some
The
people
beach
in the
for
type
some
that doesn't go
people.
and swim.
Yes. So if you know that going out there is your disappearing act,
No
for
bother.
me, it was to wet my foot and sit down at the shallow part and make the water bounce me. You
Mm-hmm.
understand? So you're right. If you, it's not the jump off thing we're talking about. So if you know that jumping off is your disappearing act, don't go there.
Mm-hmm.
But if it's just sunbathing and that's what you want, some vitamins, that's it. But find what works for you. For some people, it's exercise. Understand?
I mean,
But there are people who indulge in self-harming practices as well. Some people go through smoking, or they might take up drinking, or they might put themselves in a financial debt because this retail therapy might get them in a debt as well. And so you really have to know if you're digging a hole and to sink yourself deeper, or you're really practicing wholesome habits that are gonna get you out.
mm-hmm.
It really does.
Yeah. Kimberly, yeah, that is so true. That is so true. We tend to judge a lot. We really tend to judge a lot. Yeah. So coming out of tonight, I'm wrapping up Banare.
Hmm.
I'm hoping that can something what you say, something that somebody has said tonight will impact, will touch somebody's life and change it, send them in a different direction if they're going in, you know, down a rocky written their road or something like that. But you're saying there's always, today it's temporary. There's always tomorrow. There's always another
Hmm.
chance at being your best version of yourself, etc.
Hmm. I tell you see, you never know how strong you are until strong is the only thing you
Oh
can
my
be.
gosh, so true.
And for me, one time when I tell people that rock bottom is such a good place, them wonder, what do you mean by rock bottom is such a good place? You see, rock bottom is when you hit rock bottom, there's reassurance at rock bottom that the only place you can go from rock bottom is up. And so going down is hard, because you don't know when you're going to stop going down. But you see, when you hit rock bottom, it's hard when you hit rock bottom. But just know there is reassurances in rising from rock bottom. And if you find yourself at the deep end and you have to jump off, two things go happen. Is either you go sink or
I swim.
swim. But my mommy tell you, say, you are made to swim. And no matter what you're going through, you know that your today, your here and now is testament to everything that you have gone through for all your life. So it means that you are not built to break. You are not built to break. And we are people, we are human beings. I mean, we are the survivors of the slaves they could not kill. We tell people that all the time. We are black people. We're strong. We are overcomers. We are survivors. And the fact that we are here in 2021, to the day here, it means that we've overcome everything. Remember, you are the sperm will make it. You are the sperm will make it. And there were millions. If we have to go back to before formation, it means that the spirit of fight is in you. The spirit of fight dwells in you. If you hit rock bottom, you're going to go up. If you fall, you're going to make wings before you hit the ground. You can't feel, just tell yourself that you are not built to break. You might get cracked sometime, but guess what? Nothing wrong if a few crack is there. It's the beauty of imperfection in all of us.
Mm-hmm.
It is what gives us character. It is what makes us beautiful. It is what makes best-selling stories. So keep living your life. You understand? You might not write your book, but somebody else will tell your story of overcoming. And some of that disappear now. We don't want no Houdini moment on here. We have to make it out of this. We need to be able to tell our grandchildren and our great-grandchildren about the stories of 2020 and 2021. You understand? So nobody just don't do it, people. Don't do it.
Don't do it.
And whatever hard times you're going through, just know that there are other people who have gone through hard times and they've made it, and these people are examples of overcoming, of the crossover. We are human beings. We are made with a whole heap of emotions, and death is part of life. We don't ever want our loved ones to go, and sometimes the way in how they're taken from us makes it even harder, but we will overcome. It's hard, it's rough, but we learn about ourselves as well through these moments. Because Dara, I'm sure you'll find some part of you where you never know exists before. Through all of this, it's sad that this is what is causing us to know who we are. And I strongly believe it's sad, it's unfortunate that when we go through these things, it really comes as lessons for other people. But I just part of the process.
I know Donna them say, what doesn't break you make you stronger. But you know, sometimes I say, me no want stronger, me no want it break me.
It's true, which is why I said to you, say, when some people say, oh, we have faith in the Lord and be strong. Dara, when you want be weak and ball and wallow, if that is how you heal that way. But not go to the point of where you feel as if you are needing somebody else to walk with you all the time.
Okay, you need to be able to walk.
You understand? No, what I'm talking about is the self-pity part. Don't get to the feel weak, grieve, cry, process it. But don't remain victim of circumstances and situations. Coming like pity, don't pity me. You understand? But you have some people, and so when I share my story, it's not for pity, it's just to make people know that other people have gone through it. You're not alone. You're not on a road alone. There are other people on this road with you. So, but there are people who use them situation and I walk around and I beg sympathy and I beg pity. Me don't want that. And I'm sure you're not. This is by you, Bandara. You know, build them way there either.
Me not build them way there.
You know, build them way there.
Don't build that way at all.
And so it's just that your wound is fresh.
Yeah, man, fresh.
And it as it said, it's process. It's process. It's process.
Donna,
That's what it is.
As always, it's a pleasure to just sit and listen to you. It's really, 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 really awesome listening to you. I mean, I know you are impacting lives with your empowerment, and I am really happy that you took the time out to come on tonight to help me, to help others, and to help yourself
Not true.
Adversity.
Yeah, because I mean, each time I share, it helps. As you see, me keep rushing my son. I tell him, say, because there are things that I have not said to him, but things that he wants to know, because he wants to know his grandfather. He wants to know everything about him. And but some things, me not tell him. I don't tell him. And I think what hurts me most is him not knowing his grandfather. That is it, but so you go.
Hi, Donna. Thank you so much.
Good night, people.
Thank you so much as always for being live with Dara.
I can't say no to you.
I appreciate it. I appreciate it. How can people get in touch with you? I know I've said this already, but you haven't been on in such a long time. And you know, you are, I want to use you're an empowered. I can't just remember that word, empowered.
Empowered interactions is what I use, because that's what came to me at my lowest point. Empowered interactions. It's evolving, even though you've been pushing me to do a YouTube channel and all of these nice things, and the truth is I need to do it, but I'm not consistent. It's like how you plan for your Saturday nights. I am not that type of person to say, hey, join me every Wednesday night. Um, but I still do my talk. So like this week, I shared with the Rotaract at NCU. I have been doing like staff welfare sessions. I have been doing a whole lot of these since the year starts. So for people who want to get to me, you can always inbox me at donnamuir.s. That's my Instagram page. I'm on Facebook as well. I mean, everybody on here is on Instagram, so you see what that is. And I'm open to do workshops. I'm open to doing staff development sessions, whatever these things are. I mean, I do it. I've done several vision board and mission planning sessions online, even as recent as 2 weeks ago. So, you know, a lot of people do them vision board at the start of the year. There are people who've not done theirs yet, but are still wanting to plan out how they can um, find success for the rest of the year and moving
And even
onwards.
with everything
It's a
that's happening,
habit.
we're saying they can still plan. They can still plan it
Of
out.
course,
And yeah,
look
Donna.
here. You see, it's not a January to December thing. It's really about holding yourself accountable to a
Comfortable.
process, recognizing and identifying what you want, and somebody helping you to plot a path to getting there. And so that's what we really do. So
Thank you.
thanks again, Dara.
Thank you as always for coming on, Donna. I
Night night,
appreciate it.
people.
All right, take care.
You too, darling.
Yeah, you have to look at this now, as
Not
always.
true.
Yeah. Yeah. Donnery Muirhead. Donnery. I always waiting there. You not come out from Donnery? Oh, okay. So guys, that's Live with Dara. Part 2, Overcoming Adversity. I hope somehow something tonight can touch something within you and help you to overcome whatever adversity you're going through. As always, I appreciate you coming on. It's what, 2 hours and 40 minutes? Yo, I appreciate it. Elton, big up yourself. I wish you all the best. Stay on your meds. Come back live with Dara. I want to see you here, you know? I want to see you here. So just stay focused, stay on track. Guys, thank you so much. Thank you so much. It was a pleasure having you live with Dara. Until next week, Saturday, big up yourself. Take care of yourself. Stay safe. And for those in Jamaica, you know the curfew is still on. Not just one day. I mean, just a side note on the curfew. Yeah, just one day, you know. I know a lot of people shopping up and saying, some people don't even have money for to put food in a trolley, but to go overdo it. That's just one day. It's just like Saturday and then tomorrow, and then Monday morning you're back at it. And then next week is just 4 days. Just stay home, find something fun to do, listen music, do whatever. Oh, come on live with Dara Saturday night. And just, it's so, this, I say I hate hearing this too shall pass. But yeah, it can be done. It can be done. Alright? So until next week, thank you so much for being live with Dara. Take care of yourself. Bye.
The silence is a white